Tonight, H&N investigates transparency at the Maui County Mayor's office. It's been 3 weeks since Richard Bisson appeared at a news conference.
He's also been absent during several key announcements. We sent our Allison Blair to investigate.
Mayor Richard Bisson has not held or attended a single press conference since August 29th. When asked why, a spokesperson told us he's been busy working. For survivors of the LAHAINA fire, the uncertainty is overwhelming. A month and a half after a wall of flames killed at least 97 people and erased the town, scores of questions linger.
I think that it's leaving a lot of folks feeling confused, wondering if there's more happening behind the scenes than they are being informed about.
Despite demand for a consistent flow of information, Mayor Bisson has not publicly answered questions at a press briefing in 3 weeks. He also wasn't present at 2 significant announcements last week. One in regards to the search for the missing, the other an update on a county plan that would allow residents to enter the burn zone. The state operations director for the nonpartisan government watchdog group Common Cause says the public expects more from its elected officials.
Hearing something, as we say, from the horse's mouth, hearing it directly from the source is really important. They want accountability. They want transparency into the process.
Aloha. Aloha, everyone.
The last time Bisson attended a press conference, he got into a tense exchange with a reporter after failing to answer basic questions about where he was or who was in charge as LAHAINA burned.
Yeah, I can't speak to what or whose responsibility it was to communicate the.
You're the boss of this island.
I am.
So yes, you
I
can
am.
speak.
I don't know who spoke to General Howe. That's my answer to your question. And that's for all 4 of your questions.
In an email, the mayor's spokesperson said his absence is not an attempt to dodge questions from the media, saying every day has been dedicated to emergency response and recovery efforts, adding Bisson has spoken with members of the press frequently. He's also attended community events and answered a few questions from residents on social media. However, when H&N Investigates asked the mayor to do an interview for this story, he declined. In addition to the lack of official briefings, the majority of H&N's public records requests remain unanswered.
If you request a document, it's going to take at least 10 business days for them to respond.
But during a disaster, it often takes longer.
They can take up to an additional 10 business days. So in total, 20 business days, about a month.
Time isn't the only obstacle. Government often puts a price on its information, charging for things like paper, thumb drives, and any manpower it takes to compile those public records. Currently, H&N Investigates has 7 requests into the county. All are awaiting responses. Allison Blair.
Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot here, coming at you with another one. As you can see, I just played this clip. This came out, I believe today or yesterday. And it's zeroing in on the mayor of Maui. As you heard, he's not really coming to bat the way the people want. He went and missed 2 meetings, 2 very important meetings. One about the missing, okay, the people that are still missing, and when could the residents get back in to the fire zone, which by all information has been cleaned out. And you've seen that in one of my last videos with the drone footage of how they cleaned the place out from the cars, a lot of debris, a lot of evidence, in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people think the same. But before I continue, I just want to say thank you to all my new subscribers here and on Rumble, and all the comments you guys are leaving me. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe to the channel. Pass it around. Let's get this channel growing, okay? The more people that we can get, the more awareness we could spread, the more it can get out, and open up everybody's eyes, you know, to the kinds of things that are happening. And with that being said, I want to show you guys another clip. that I believe also adds to why the mayor didn't want to make it to those other two meetings. You know, I find it ironic that his statement is that he's busy doing, you know, other things. And I'm sure, or at least I hope, that what he's doing is either on the same scale or better, because I can't for the life of me understand why he would miss a meeting where people, the residents, want to talk about the people that are still missing and when could they go back into, you know, their property. But they said the last time he spoke was about 3 weeks ago. I'll show you the clip, which was on August 29th. Here we go.
Joint press conference since August 29th, and KITV4's Jeremy Lee joins us live from West Maui. And Jeremy, you have more on those unanswered questions that remain 7 weeks later.
We have asked who was responsible for issuing an emergency evacuation order that would usher the public out of Lahaina town before fire overtook Front Street. Those emergency powers were used before the morning fire was contained on August 8th, but no public official has confirmed if those powers were used in the afternoon. Take a look. Hawaii Revised Statute 127A13B4 reads, in the event of a local state of emergency declared by the mayor may direct and control the mandatory evacuation of civilian population. In other words, it's the mayor who makes the call.
That's right. I'm not sure who was in charge. I think Herman Andaya was still in charge. He just wasn't present. He was in contact with his team, I guess by phone.
In those 4 August press conferences, nobody from the county ever stepped forward to say who was responsible for that communication failure that trapped people in Lahaina town. In the 4 August press conferences.
All right, we're going to stop it right there real quick. You know, I find that totally impossible, the incompetence between the mayor, the police chief, and the governor. You know, I could understand if the governor was not on the island, okay? I'm not buying the whole thing that, like some reports are saying, that the police chief, the governor, and the mayor, everybody was in a different area. Nobody like got together. It was hard. And then when it happened so fast, and they kept saying that it happened late. And when video shows that these fires started about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, okay? It shows that the electric company said that they cut the power early. Okay? That the fire department was out there, it was said, fighting fires. And then everything just turned to crap. The water was turned off. Police officers were getting orders to block the roads. Okay? At first, the mayor said that he wasn't there, that he didn't show up till late that night. Or not late, but he showed up, you know, he didn't show up till the evening. And then what gets me is that you have police officers telling people that they couldn't pass, they were blocking the roads, that they were getting their orders from higher ups. So it makes you wonder, these are the questions you need to ask. If they're low on the totem pole, and they got their orders from the higher up, that means they got it from the police chief. If he got his orders from the higher up, that would be the mayor. If the mayor got his orders, that means he got his orders from the governor. So then who's above the governor? You see, like I was saying in my other videos, that the stuff that they're putting together, they're forgetting, they're contradicting themselves. And I've been repeating this for the longest. They're contradicting themselves. And now, as of recent, okay, he's over here saying that, you know, he couldn't make it to 2 meetings last week. One of the meetings being that people are still asking questions about the body count and wondering when they could go back to their property. But yet the governor is saying that they're moving people into long-term housing. I'll get back to that in a second. Let's continue watching this.
As county officials would not detail communication failures in the afternoon of August 8th. What kind of communication in the key hours of 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. was ongoing between command and control of police and fire, that being whoever was in your stead at that time?
So we share the same dispatch center, both police and fire here. So all of our information goes to the same location so that it can be quickly sent out to the other organization.
But was that information sent out between 3 and 5:30 p.m. on August 8th? At the previous press conference, I asked what time did police and fire convene in the Emergency Operations Center on the ground floor of the county building?
I can't talk about the EOC on some of that. I'm just going to talk about police ops, if you don't mind. Police and fire communicate. They communicate very well together. We did not close or forbid people from getting out of Lahaina. If there is a down power line, we don't want that was live. We want to make sure that you didn't go over a down live power line.
Okay, we already know that's all lies. Okay, even up until today, too many people are coming out saying that no, they were blocked in, they were being sent in circles, they were being sent onto dead end streets, narrow streets. And there was people that disobeyed what the police, the deputies or that were there blocking them. A lot of people that disobeyed them, they took it upon themselves to go around them or take another route and got away. Okay, and that was because they were being blocked in. That's just the bottom line. Okay, but let's continue.
But documentation of at least a half dozen roadblocks indicate police were unaware of Hawaiian Electric's claim that power lines were de-energized by morning, or of an evacuation order, which the mayor claimed was given.
Yes, mandatory evacuations did take place on the west side, certainly for LAHAINA.
But could not answer the follow-up. But when was the afternoon, the second evacuation order?
I don't know what that was.
Well, thank you all for your time.
But you gave it.
So we have 100.
You gave it? The county Facebook only posts at 10:07 p.m. that evacuation orders were in effect as of 9:45 at night. In fact, elected officials have constantly referred to emergency operations for LAHAINA happening at night.
The Emergency Operations Center was in full activation that night.
Our radios did not fail, and so we had constant radio communication that night.
But this was an afternoon fire.
Exactly. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm not understanding the mentality of these people. They clearly have all the video that anybody can muster during the day. Okay, where they're showing blatantly during the day of the traffic jams, of the police barricades, of people trying to escape. Why do they keep referring to this thing happening late at night? Last week when I showed, or about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, if you guys go back to my content, it shows two guys driving on the highway, okay? And in that video I showed how a fire started on the right side of the highway, and there was no fire on the left side blowing over. There was nothing. It just sparked up, okay? That was a little after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Those guys, okay, you'll see on the video, they were being told which way to go. They ended up into a dead-end street. They had to back around as quick as they could to try to get out. And I believe, if I remember correctly, at some point they had to ditch their truck. Okay? If I'm wrong, I'm getting it confused with who ditched their truck. But that part is true, that you'll see that they were being told which way to go. But this was in the afternoon. Okay, which means that the fire did not get that intense up until 3, 4, 5 o'clock. More than enough time to get the word out, because the fire was spreading so fast. But it still took about 3 or 4 hours before it reached Front Street, which means that you could have evacuated that whole area. You know, it's not like there was 250,000 people. It's not like people had to wait on the bus to show up or call an Uber. Okay? If I had to guess, from all the footage that I've seen, Maui is somewhat like Florida. If you don't have a car, you're not really going anywhere. Okay? Which means that people have more than enough time to find vehicles. I mean, they're showing countless videos. You can see in countless videos houses that have 2, 3, 4 cars, multiple cars. You mean to tell me that everybody could not have escaped in a timely manner? Like I keep saying, they contradict. Everything that they keep saying is contradiction after contradiction after contradiction. And the mayor is the one stuck in the middle, and yet he doesn't want to answer the questions. Why? I'll tell you why. But let's continue with this, and I'll explain why.
The fire started at 3 p.m.
Have you sounded the siren that night? We're afraid that people would have gone Malka.
Evacuees fled to the water by 5:33. Emergency operations did occur at night, as seen in this video of Waihikulī evacuations at 9:22 p.m., hours after Front Street burned. Mayor Richard Bisson and the county Facebook page both announced at 5:20 p.m. on August 8th, quote, access in and out of Lahaina is now possible via Hokiokio Place, indicating that as of 5:20 p.m., traffic was still incoming to Lahaina. Lanes had not been contraflowed to support an emergency evacuation.
Look at that. So them knowing very well that the fire is creeping on them big time, and you're letting people in? Why would you let people in? If you knew the fire was coming, if you knew that the fire was already 4 hours old, if you knew which way the wind was blowing, you knew what the inevitable was going to be. You all did. The mayor, the governor, the police chief, all the powers that be. They knew what the inevitable was going to be. Now I'll get to my point on why he missed those 2 meetings. And of course, this is my opinion. Everybody's smart enough. I think everybody's been following me, long enough and to make up their own minds. Okay? So he misses, first of all, we'll start with this. The mayor, the police chief, and the governor have been contradicting themselves from day one. That we already know. It's been nothing but lies and contradiction. Okay? While the power company has been kind of silent, and I think they're silent because, you know what? I think that they have a good case to say, you know what? No, we did what we had to do. We cut the power. You're trying to blame this on us. We're going to keep a low profile, and we're going to get a ton of lawyers to fight this. If that's the way they're thinking. I'm just saying that's my opinion. Okay? But now here's the thing. You had Andaya not, turn on the sirens. The next day, he resigned. You had, I'm just going to call him, and I'm not trying to make a joke or anything about any of this, but you know what? It's getting to the point I cannot, for the life of me, remember that guy's name that was in charge of the water. So I'm just going to call him the water guy. Okay? Because I for some odd reason, his name doesn't stay in my head. So he cuts off the water, which makes it hard for residents who, on video, were saying that they were fighting with their garden hoses. They had a chance. A lot of them said they had a chance, and then all the water was cut off, even side by side with some firefighters. They said, and the water was just cut off. So now you got no sirens. But here's the thing. Andaya says that he didn't want to turn on the sirens at night because it was at night. People were sleeping. He didn't want them to think that there was a tsunami coming in, as if they wouldn't have seen half the island on fire. So that's a contradiction in itself right there, because the fire started way early in the early afternoon. Okay? So why he even came out with that is beyond me. I'm not understanding what the mentality of how these men are looking at this. Since day one that the fires started during the day. People were trying to escape during the day. Why would you even make a comment that you didn't sound the sirens at night? when you was asked, why didn't you sound the sirens? He goes and says, well, we didn't want to do it because it was at night. No, it was not at night. It was during the day. But he resigned. Somebody is going to track him down and ask questions. Okay, let's continue. So now the mayor says he doesn't know who was in charge. Now they're playing the back and forth game. The police chief is like, I never told my guys to block anything. Meanwhile, that's all you hear. I have maybe one or two people have said that they were able to get by. But for the most part, 90%, 95% of almost every video that has surfaced, almost every person that has escaped has said the same thing. Roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. We had to go different ways. We had to turn, and they were still bringing people in. So, now it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, okay? People are coming home from work. But this is what I don't understand. If they told the people to evacuate during the day, they sent the kids home from school, because that's the original story, or their kids stayed home from school. That was the second story, in my opinion, the cover-up story. Then who exactly was being told about this fire? Because why was there an influx of traffic coming back in the evening hours? Do you see how confusing all this is? It's almost as if it was a deliberate lack of communication. And since it was all lies from the beginning, all these lies, the truth is coming out from all these lies. The contradictions are coming out. Okay? Now, the real reason, in my opinion, I think the mayor didn't go to those two last meetings was because on the 29th, when he had this meeting, he knew he couldn't answer. So he's trying to put himself, how can I say? He's trying to make his presence known, but he doesn't want to be around anybody that's going to ask the hard questions. Because it sounds like everything falls on him. And I'll get to that, why I say that. But he didn't go to one meeting where the residents, okay, the meeting was going to be about survivors, the body count, trying to find out. He doesn't want to be a part of that. Because it's already a cover-up. That's why they went and cleaned the place out. The second one is the people being displaced. Where are they going to find housing? Why can't they go back to their property? I'll tell you why. Because they're not going to let them go back to their property. At least that's the way I see it. So, you don't give them the right body count. Okay? Which means that right now, everybody might as well get it through their head. That number that they're giving is not the actual number. I've been saying it for the longest. The body count is definitely a lot more than what they're saying. So that's just, might as well make that a fact right now. And the second thing is, I don't know exactly how this is going to work, but I'd like to see in what way they're supposedly going to let the residents back in. If I had to guess, they're not. At all. Not now. Not in 18 months. If they let them in now, they'll probably condescend them and say, we'll let you in so you could sift through and see if you could, rummage anything, of personal value or, momentums or, whatever the case is, which in my opinion, the whole damn thing has been a kick to the face of the victims. Okay? Now, for this man, and now I'm going to finish it off with this. For this man to be so incompetent during a tragedy like this, it's beyond me. Not to mention for all three of them. The police chief, the mayor, and the governor. When 9/11 happened, okay, and I got to bring this up, it was all hands on deck. And when I mean all hands on deck, you guys can look it up for yourself. Okay? Rudy Giuliani was in the streets in the middle of all this. No security around him. Everybody was running around. There's video of him just full of dust. He is trying to help people. In the middle of the street. It was chaos. Okay? That is how you take control. And like I said, if you don't believe me, look it up. He wasn't worried about somebody attacking him. He wasn't worried about politics. It was none of that. It was a time for everybody to get together and help each other. And he was down there when it happened. And he was out in the street. And people are running and screaming and helping each other. People are bleeding. And Rudy Giuliani is there. He is dirty. I believe he was bleeding from his face. From his nose, I believe, or something like that. I mean, because when it happened, it just... Nobody knew how bad it was going to turn in an instant. And that's exactly what happened in Maui. You knew from the beginning, from earlier that day, that there was danger coming. You let it ride until it was too late. When you had it in your power, the governor, the mayor, and the police chief to get together and say, we need to get everybody out of there ASAP. Now they're going to play the blame game. They don't know who was in charge. It's easy to say Andaya's name. Why? He resigned the very next day. Nobody has heard from this man going on nearly 2 months. How many weeks is it now? 6, 7 weeks? So now you're going to say, oh, we think he was in charge. How convenient to blame it on the first guy who was in charge of the sirens, on him to leave, to use his name. Now I wonder what the chain of command is. How does it go? Who would have been the first one to say, I think we have a problem with this wildfire? And then it goes up the chain. Does it go from the guy Andaya, then to the mayor, then the mayor gets the police chief, and then they get together and say, let's go get the governor? How does it work? Or does it start from the governor going down? How exactly does it work? Because right now, the way all this is turning out, people, it is a major shit show when it comes to who's in charge. And in my opinion, it's all because of one reason. This is what they wanted. Somebody told them, in my opinion now, like I'm saying, you've heard it from the cops, from the powers that be, from the higher ups, it could only go but so high. And if it's gone beyond the governor, Maui's in trouble. And I have been trying to refrain from saying that. But as it looks right now, this goes beyond the governor. The question is, who? Anyway, that's what I got for you. I'm True Outlaw Patriot. I hope you like the content. Please comment, like, subscribe, pass it around. Keep the subscriptions coming, people. We got to keep this channel going. And definitely, you got to keep looking at all the content that's being put out. Okay, from the other content creators also. I mean, there's a lot of people trying their best, so this doesn't die. Okay, so this story doesn't fade away. It just seems to get worse and worse. Nobody wants to take accountability. And it's funny how the mayor could just be so... I don't even know the word to put on this man. The way he just, just pulls back and saying things like, well, I'm busy. Yeah, we know you're busy. But you know what? The governor's too busy trying to open up Maui by October 8th. What are you busy doing? And that's another thing. Why does the governor want to open up so soon? It seems like they want to push this issue, send everybody to housing. The number that you got as far as the fatalities is final, and let's just move on and grieve and mourn. No, sorry, no, it can't be like that. It cannot be. It cannot end up that complacent. I'm sorry. It totally breaks my heart. And people may say, well, you know what? You don't live there. Why do you feel so adamant? Because they lied to us at 9/11. I was in New York. Okay? I know family and friends, okay, that passed away, that got sick and passed away afterwards. Because they kept lying. Telling us the air was clean. People could go back to work. Meanwhile, you walk down the street down in Manhattan, it looked like brown soot. Okay? That the best way I can describe it, the way the air looked, and this was way after when they opened up Lower Manhattan. If you ever took a stick, incense stick, and I'm sure a lot of people have, and you burn it, that brown smoke that flies off of it, that's what it looked like in the air. Because they lied to us. And I look at this on Maui, and I'm like, they're lying to them. But anyway, remember, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.